My name is Antonique, and for a while now, um, probably about a year or so, a little over a year, ever since I've been saved, God's been putting on my heart to give my testimony of what I've been through and how He has delivered me from it, and to pretty much expose the works of the devil that people don't realize that they're um, allowing into their lives by certain things or sins that they're doing that I didn't even understand when I was doing them. So I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible, and I'm gonna just try to give the most important things of my life. So it kind of makes sense because I've been through a lot, y'all. So when I was younger, I my relationship with God wasn't really anything. It was pretty much the whole basis of my relationship with God was going to church. And that was it. Like, I didn't have like a real relationship with Him. I don't remember talking to Him, praying to Him. I didn't really, know how to do all that stuff. I was pretty much just watching TV and going to school and all that other stuff, daycare, whatever. So I remember uh I did I remember when I was at daycare at a very young age, I was bullied. Like, and that's no shade or to anyone or anything. I forgive and everything. But it's just to give my testimony. I was bullied, and I remember like they was just bullying me. It was like a group of sisters, and I understand now why I was bullied, but back then I had no clue why like I was bullied and stuff like that. And I remember telling their mom about it, and I was like, and when I think back on it now, I'm like, dang, I was kind of bold because it's like I told their mom on them, but whatever. So I told their mom, and I guess their mom talked to them or something like that. I'm pretty sure she did. She had to because, or I think I told them right in front of him. I don't know. Somehow word got around that I told on them about them bullying me. I was like, I'm kind of sick of being bullied. So next day, I'll never forget this. I remember they pinned me down. They pinned me to the well, not down on the floor, but they pinned me like to a window, and they told me, they said, God hate what you did, and He hates you for what you did. Tell him you're sorry. Tell him you're sorry. And I was just crying like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I tried telling my parents about this, but I don't think they really understood the magnitude of what was going on. They probably don't even remember this, but it was like, something that happened. Then uh, I remember when I was going through school, elementary school, I had a bad habit of just lying. Like, I was just a liar. I was a liar. I was just young, spoiled, but I was definitely a liar. Like, I just remember lying just to lie. Like, it's not even a reason to lie. I just lied. But that was like one of the first sins that I really was like bad about. Still working through to this day. But so uh I remember in middle school I was bullied. I went to, well, I ain't gonna tell you where I went, but I went to a school and I was bullied and stuff like that. Not so much sixth grade, but definitely seventh grade, I went through it. And it was just like some of the worst years of my life. Well, not even the worst, but it was just some tough years of my life starting out. It was just, I didn't like it. And I just remember always wanting to fit in, be with the cool girls. Like, why am I just not cool? Like, I just never understood why I didn't fit in with them. So, it just got to the point where I just was like, just why? I just didn't understand. So, bullying, I cried out to my mom. I was like, Mom, I'm so tired of getting bullied. Like, I'm so tired of getting bullied. And so I ended up transferring schools. And I went to another school and I didn't get bullied there. But when I went to high school, I was going back to the same district of the school where I did get bullied. I was so like, Mom, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Mom was like, you'll be fine. Like, just chill out, chillax. You're getting the best education you can get. Calm down. So ended up sucking it up, and I went to the school or whatever, and I didn't get bullied like that, like that. But I did. I started talking to boys. Um, I lost my virginity in ninth grade, and like people don't understand. Like when you open yourself up to do a sin, you're opening yourself up to demons to having little grounds in your life. So didn't know that. So, yeah, I basically opened the door of rebellion in my life, and the guy that I lost my virginity to, I was just very rebellious with him. I was going against my parents' back. What 10 Commandments? Honor thy mother and father. But I'm going behind their back. I'm lying to them. So I'm just sinning all around, just sin. But I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying I love him. We love each other. Like, so is us against the world type stuff. So I ended up getting pregnant by him, and my mom found out. I tried to hide it as long as I could, but it was kind of like I knew, but I didn't have enough courage to tell her. So I just was like, I had like a pain in my side, and I told my mom, and we ended up going to convenient care or whatever. And they told my mom I was pregnant. And from then, it was like me and my mom's relationship really hit the rocks. Like, she did not trust me. She was so upset with me. Like, it was just bad, y'all. So I'm in the 10th grade, I think, at this point. And yeah, my mom's like, she asked me, like, do you want to have this baby? Like, pretty much, she already had it set for me to have an abortion. But, she asked me, and I was just like, no, I'm not ready to have a baby. I didn't understand that either. I just was like, I'm too young. I don't want to walk around pregnant and selfish. So I ended up having an abortion, and I was awake through the whole thing. And it was one of the hardest days of my life, y'all. Like, I cried so bad. Like, I just cried. I cried. And I felt like the only person who really understood me at the time was the boy who got me pregnant. So we still talking behind my mama's back. My mama wants me to have nothing to do with him anymore. We still talking behind her back and stuff like that. And, she keeps finding out that we talking behind her back. And this is how I knew God was real. Oh, well, I'll get to that later. This is how I knew God was real. So I was inviting him over to the house one day. My mom was at work, and my mom had a boyfriend at that time. And I invited him over. I didn't know what time he was going to be back. I thought it was going to be later, clearly, of course, than he was coming back, but that's besides the point. So long story short, I'm inviting the boy over, and God said, don't do this. And I was like, did I hear myself? I was like, I didn't understand it. I just didn't understand. I was like, so I just shoved it off. I was just like, okay. I just pushed it to the side. Like, whatever that thought was, I'm going to do what I want to do. So, invited him over, got caught. So, when my mom found out about that, I got kicked out the house. Rightfully so. I got kicked out the house. And my mom was like, she just did not trust me for nothing. And I don't blame her. She didn't trust me for nothing. She thought I was doing all types of stuff when I was just she just did not trust me for nothing. And then it just got to a point with that relationship. I was just like, I'm just tired. Like, I'm so tired of being like at odds with my mom. I just got tired. I got tired of fighting for the relationship. It was just too much. So ended up letting that go. Around 11th grade, I got into another relationship, and I was still, in sin and stuff. But God gave me a natural, like, curiosity to where I would just look up stuff that I didn't really understand yet. So at some point, I ended up jumping down the rabbit hole, and I was looking. It's kind of divergent, but I was looking up, like, why celebrities do certain things, and da da da, like why they do this and hold up the pyramid, and why do they um why do they say certain things, and why are they talking about 666, like, stuff like that, like. And God showed me, like, in high school, basically these people worship the devil. So we're gonna get to that in a little bit. But so I was just like, wow, like they worship the devil, and I'm not understanding the depth of devil worship. Like, I'm not understanding, because I'm still like in la la land about everything. And at that point, I didn't even realize God was revealing that to me to protect me. Didn't realize it. So, ooh, so let me see. So, uh, college. I ended up going to college, and at this point, I was not people. I knew people in high school who were doing drugs, who were drinking, but I wasn't into all of that stuff. Like, my mama was strict. She will say to this day she was not strict, but she was strict, and I thank her for being strict, because she protected me from a lot of things. She may not protect me from everything, because I was rebellious and stuff like that, but she protected me from so much, and I love her for it to this day. But I just wasn't into that stuff. I would drink, like, with my parents or something, but it'd be like a shot, like, just to see how I take it or something like that. Like, it was never me getting drunk until graduation night. I did get drunk on graduation night. I got tipsy or something like that. I got lit. But when I went to college, that's really when drugs started really, getting into my life. So, let's see. I remember, like, my first year of college, I wasn't I was I was doing pretty good for myself. Like, I was making good grades. I was in a pageant. I won the second place in a pageant. I got a queen title. Um I was doing pretty good. I was like, wow, like, school is for me. College is for me. Like, this is for me. Like, I'm thriving. I'm just like, I'm really thriving. And I was just doing really good. I was making great grades, 3.5 GPA. It was just like, okay, I'm doing really well for myself. But it wasn't until it was like every year of college just kept getting more and more awful. Like, it was just, I just couldn't find that same spark that I had in my first year in any more years of college. So, my ninth, not my ninth, but my freshman year. What is it? Is it freshman? Yeah, child. My freshman year of college, I I remember I smoked for, like, the first time, and I didn't go crazy or anything. It was more just like I was just like seeing everything different. But I was just like, whoa, everything's different. Why the show on the TV looks, I'm perceiving it so different. Like, I'm enlightened, like, child. So But I remember I did not like smoking at first. Did not like smoking. I didn't like the taste that it left in my mouth. I just didn't like it. But, you know, I got tired of being in my room alone. That was one of my main problems. I got tired of being alone in my room. I felt so alone in college and stuff like that. So I got tired of being alone, and I was just like, okay, so if I want to have friends, I have to do what my friends do. So basically, I was hanging out with my roommate. My roommate would go out all the time. I'm just like, where are you going? Like, what are you doing? So I started hanging out heavy with my roommate at that time, and she was a smoker and stuff. And so I would just go and hang with her and smoke with her. And then I met this guy in college, and he was a smoker. And we started talking, hitting it off. And I started smoking with him every now and then smoking with my roommate every now and then, and drinking every now and then, getting drunk and stuff, going out to parties, college stuff that seeing. So it wasn't until okay, and then while I was in college, I was also battling with my relationship with my parents. It was like it was going downhill too. And I felt like they weren't it was kind of like they just threw me out to college, and then that was it. Like it was like our relationship, we weren't as close. It wasn't me seeing you every day or me seeing you every other week. It was like I'm just checking up on you every now and then. And I felt like our relationship just wasn't the same anymore. So, going through all of that and feeling like my parents kind of abandoned me, um, let me see. I ended up getting a eating disorder where I would eat like a muffin a day, and that would be it. I would just eat a muffin, drink coffee, and I would smoke. And this is when I realized, like, okay, I'm not just smoking for fun anymore. I'm dependent on it now, because I was just buying weed, smoking it, and this was every day. I had to have it every day. I felt like I couldn't live without it. That was literally how it felt. And at first, you tell yourself, I don't need it. I don't need it. I just do it for fun. I just do it because I want to. I just do it what I want because I want to. Like, it's just because I want to. But I knew deep down, I was like, I can't go without it. And I would try to do little things. Let me just go a day without it. Like that was doing something. But whatever. So yeah, so around this time I'm starting to lose mad weight. Mad weight. And my parents can see it on me. Like they're like, something ain't right. Like I look crazy. But to me, I couldn't tell because I was the one going through it. So it was like I couldn't really see it. But when I look back on it now, like, dang, I was so skinny. I was so skinny. And I was just losing weight. I remember my clothes wasn't fitting the same. Like, it was just a lot. So then around this time, I cut off the guy that I was talking to on and off. I got tired of that relationship. And I went and I started talking to another guy. And with this guy, we started getting into new age really heavy. And I remember I started, like, with my depression and eating disorder that I had grown, I was like, I have to get out this funk. Like, I don't know what it is, but I have to get out this funk. So every morning I would wake up and I would start meditating. And I would find a little YouTube meditation, that has the chakras and all the other stuff, the heart chakra, the mind chakra, all that stuff. I would find a one of those and listen to it say and all the other stuff in me and stuff, not realizing that is demonic. It's not what you think it is and stuff. I didn't realize it at the time, but it wasn't until God showed me that. But I was doing it. And at first I felt like, I feel so enlightened. I feel like myself again. I feel like I can talk to people. I feel like I'm connected one with the universe. Like, I just didn't realize what I was doing. Then I wanted to talk to spirit guides. I was I remember doing a meditation where I was talking to spirit guides and I seen a black floaty thing, and we're gonna get back to that because that happened it happened another time too. And that's around the time I got saved. But the first time I seen a black orb looking thing, and I was coming out of my body because I was listening to a meditation in the bed about meeting a spirit guide, because I'm thinking, I'm finna meet, I didn't know what I was doing, y'all. I was just on this new ageism hard. So I remember seeing this black orb, and I remember my spirit was coming out my body, and I said, uh-uh. Like, I remember tucking my spirit back in my body, like, nope, this ain't it. I was like, I don't know what this is, but this ain't it. And so, around this time, still dating a guy, and we're what are we doing? I don't know. I know we were smoking though. Smoking, drinking, we're doing what we want to do, basically living in sin. And I remember we ended up moving in together because we couldn't get an apartment on campus. So we ended up moving in together, and we were still smoking. We were still into new age stuff. We were still just doing what we wanted to do. And I remember we started getting into astrology and all this stuff. So if anybody knows me, they know that I was deep into astrology. Like, I could tell your sun, moon, rising, just tell me the time of your birth. I can tell you all about yourself. I was literally like a fortune teller out here, not realizing that's witchcraft, not realizing I'm opening the doors to demonic possession, not realizing all of this stuff. Like, of course I know now, but I didn't realize what I was doing. I was really partaking in witchcraft, and I was just opening the doors for more witchcraft and stuff. Then I remember, and the guy that I was dating, we had our problems, but it wasn't until we went and we saw a fortune teller. That was the dumbest child, but I thought it was just, whoa, she just told me so much about my life. Went to see a fortune teller, not realizing when you go and seek fortune tellers or astrology, all that stuff, you basically just put a curse on yourself. So well, not pretty much, I put a curse on both of us because we both went there, and I'm pretty sure it was my idea. I'll say that. I was the Eve who ate the fruit. It was my idea. I said, let's go and see a fortune teller. Let's, cursed. I remember we were never the same after we left that fortune teller because we were arguing nonstop. It was like, it was bad. It was bad. Like, if you're with somebody and you're arguing all the time, it's not good. So, we ended up ending our relationship, and I remember I stopped going to college because I couldn't afford the next year that I was going there. I had a balance that I just couldn't afford. And so I was just like, and I really did try to stay in college, but it was just like everything was against me going to college. So I was like, I just don't think the universe wants me to go to college anymore. And that probably was God saying he didn't want me to go to college anymore. But I was just, at the time, it was so many things stopping me from getting back in school that year. So I just don't think that's what God wanted for me at that time. So I stopped going to college, and I remember I started working at Hooters. And Hooters was just another way to try to validate myself, because I felt I was honestly insecure about who I was, and I was also insecure about my family. I felt like my family wasn't really there for me, honestly, and I felt like the men that I allowed in my life weren't there for me. And I ended up working at Hooters, and at first it was like fun, but then it was just like something in my spirit was just like, this job isn't right. Like, I was already rebellious, but it was just like, I just hated it. I hated, not saying I hated Hooters, but I hated what it stood for, and I just didn't like it anymore. It just wasn't me anymore. I felt like I was putting too much work in, not getting anything back. Now, the girls that I did meet at Hooters, some of them were some amazing girls, and I really do send them, like, I really do hope that they do find Jesus in their lives and stuff, because some of them, I know God has a purpose for them. Like, I know he does. But for me, I knew I had to get out of it. But while working at Hooters, I started kind of dabbling into other things, um, other types of drugs. And I know they say, like, weed isn't a gateway drug, you know. For me, it was. When I was working at Hooters, I feel like I need energy, I need energy, I need energy. So I don't even know how I first tried it. I don't know, like, when I first started doing it. I feel like I was doing it, maybe I probably did it before Hooters, but I don't know. I really don't remember when I started, but I do know I did start taking ecstasy and stuff for while I was working at Hooters. And I remember it would just give me so much energy, so much energy. I would go home, I would still be awake. I can't go to sleep. I'm drawing. I'm like, this drug, they say this drug is so bad, but it's not bad. I'm deceived. I'm deceived, honestly. And I remember I was, taking ecstasy every now and then, still smoking weed every night, still drinking, getting wine drunk. I remember I would buy the big boxes of wine so I could just go back and keep drinking and stuff like that. And I would wake up. Sometimes I would wake up on coming off the floor. Like, I don't remember falling out, but I knew I had to hit my head because I could feel like where my head hit something, like, and that was so scary to me. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, but I'm not realizing, oh, it's the drugs, Anthony. Like, I kind of knew, but at the same time, it was just like, I need these drugs. So what? Ciao, bye. So, um, let's see. After, oh, the place that I was staying at that time when I was working at Hooters, the lease was almost up, so I had to give it up. Oh, and mind you, I was still sleeping around. I was still doing drugs every day. I was still what, dressing provocatively, showing my body, like, basically just, I'm all the way just out of God's light at this point. I'm just like, whatever. And I remember it got to a point where my family was trying to reach out to me, but I didn't want to hear it. I did not want to hear it. And I felt like any little thing that they said, boom, I cussed them out. I remember cussing my mama out. I cussed my daddy out. I I believe I cussed my uncle out. I can't remember, but they all got cussed out at some point. And then I guess word got around to my grandma, because she hit me up and she was like, Neek, you need to come home. You need to come to Albany. You need to get it together. And yeah, so I ended up, and this is how I can tell my pride was just at an all-time high, because I was about to sleep in my car. But yeah. Oh, also, I had 2 days where I was a stripper. Neither here nor there. Worst days of my life. But yeah, that's part of my testimony too. I did strip 2 days, and no. So I ended up moving back to Albany because my lease was up. I really didn't have anywhere to stay. It was just like, I'm running out of options. It's either sleep in my car or go back to Albany. So went to Albany, and I was still in sin. I was smoking at my grandma's house. I was, I was just, I was still in sin. And when I first got back to Albany, that's when I met my who is now my husband. But when we first met, he was in church. He believed in Jesus and everything. Me, I'm still new age, and like I believe in a higher power, but all that church stuff, that Jesus stuff, like you can miss me out with all that. I don't know about none of that. I don't know about no sun. I know about the sun in the sky. I don't know about no, new age. So, but God used that to be able to build his faith and stuff, like, because me being so like doubtful, and not doubtful, but me just not being a believer like he was, it made him kind of be like, well, let me see why she think like this, and let me see what, like I was questioning his faith big time, so he had to come up with some answers, so he had to read the word. So anyway, we still in sin. Me and him, we just in sin, child. We doing all types of stuff. We vaping, we smoking, we drinking. He was a big drinker, so he getting me drunk. Everybody we around drunk. We just drunk junkies. We just druggies, really. So I'm just drinking, just having a good old just having a good old time. Just not even realizing like, okay. So got to a point, I remember, I'll never forget. It was one night, I remember I was under the influence. And I remember me and my husband, we were in the room, and when you're in sin, you give legal access to demons. I just want you to know that. You give legal access to demons to come in and out of your body, your room, your temple, everything. So this is not to put anybody out. This is just to tell my story, because Jesus saved both of us. It's not just me. He saved both of us. So don't put nobody down or anything. So I remember we were doing things we didn't have no business doing. We were, doing things which married people should do. And a spirit entered into him. And I know a spirit entered into him because his face changed. Like, and this can happen to anybody. I was possessed. So it's not just him. Anybody can be possessed. If you're vaping, smoking, you're allowing it into your body. So sorry. So spirit entered into him, and I remember my husband, he was like, well, it wasn't him, it was a spirit. My baby up now. It wasn't him, it was a spirit inside of him. But it was like, I can tell you everything I need you to know. And think about this now. Think about the tree of knowledge, how Eve was tricked into eating the fruit. Basically, I ate the forbidden fruit because he was like, I can tell you everything I need you to know. I mean, everything you want to know. And I was like, I didn't understand what was going on until God revealed it to me later. But I was just like, I was just like, okay. So basically, it was like, you want to know? And I said, I remember I nodded. I didn't even say nothing because I was just kind of just so thrown aback. I didn't understand what was going on. So I was just so thrown aback. And I remember waking up after I had nodded yes. I remember I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was a black orb again. It was a black orb on my wall, and it said, oh, it didn't say anything. It was a black orb on my wall, and I was just looking at it. I wasn't really afraid, but I was just looking at it like, what is that? Like, oh, I was looking at it like, what is that? So, I'm sorry, y'all. My son woke up. So, I was looking at it, and I remember just staring at it for a while. Like, I was just looking at it for a while. And I remember it just floated towards me. And I went back to sleep. I woke up. And mind you, at this time, when I'm in New Age, I'm thinking there's no such thing as a heaven or hell or all that stuff. You create your own heaven. You create your own hell. I believed in reincarnation. When you die, you just come back as somebody else. All lies from the devil, because he does not want you to know of where he resides. He does not want you to know about hell. Okay, he doesn't. So this is what is going on through my head. I didn't believe in demons. I didn't believe in none of that. I was just like, shoot, people are their own demons. They create their own demons. Lies. If it doesn't come from the Bible, it's a lie. So when I woke up after seeing the black orb float towards me, I literally remember waking up and I saw demons, y'all. And God was showing me, he was basically saying, you're going to hell if you don't change your life. Period. That was it. He showed me all the demons that I had let into my life, and he showed me, well, no, go back. He, not at that point. At that point, I just seen demons, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I didn't understand what was going on, but I just knew I seen demons. I was scared. And I remember waking up, and it was like a fear gripped me like no other. And I knew I was not right. I knew something was not right with my body. Like, some demons can possess you and you won't even know it. But that time, I knew it. I knew something was not right. And I remember I was so scared to the point where I was ready to leave Albany and go back to Savannah and just live in my car, because I was just like, this isn't for me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I don't understand. I was just so scared. And mind you, I'm still in a relationship with my now husband, and I was ready to leave. I ain't want no parts, y'all. And I remember he was there when I first woke up. I told him to get out. I kicked him out. You gotta go. I didn't understand what was going on, but I was just like, you gotta go, because it was too much. It was too much. I could, you know how, I just didn't feel right. I just did not feel right in my body no more. And so, let me see. So I remember I started washing my clothes. I'm sitting outside. I had no sense of time. Time was just like going so slow. I've never felt time goes that so slow before. And so I remember looking in the mirror. I could just tell I'm not myself. And it just got to a point I broke down. I remember I was on my bed and I cried out to Jesus. I cried so hard. I cried. I said, God, please help me. Please. Like, I can't do this. Whatever it is, God, please help me. And so,